The China Space Program. Okay, let's do this. The China Space Program, or the space program of the People's Republic of China, is everything that was directed by China's National Space Administration. The roots of this space program date back to the 1950s. The space program was of course built to develop and strengthen China in the field of space. The development of the space program began when China started preparing a ballistic missile in response to the American threats that were later known to be Soviet threats. So, what exactly is the China Space Program? To look into this and the objectives they have for space, their goals and ambitions, we have to go back to the 1950s. So today in this video, we're going to talk about the Chinese Space Program, its history, and all the projects it's conducted throughout the years. If you're excited to find that out, stay tuned. Before we begin, make sure you've subscribed to our channel and press the bell icon for notifications of new uploads so that you don't miss out on our videos. History. There's no doubt that today China is one of the most powerful industrial countries in the world. Or it wouldn't be wrong to admit that it is the most powerful industrial country in the world as of now, as well as a country with perhaps the largest economy. Due to the large-scale capital investment and productivity growth, China's economy has grown on, and even now, nothing is stopping it. Its trading partners are all over the globe. So, to reach this point of such growth, strength, and position worldwide, many factors and many industries have played a role, one of which is the evolution of China in the field of space. So, the development of the Chinese space program began after the Soviet Union launched mankind's first satellite on October 4, 1957, Sputnik 1. After this impressive accomplishment by the Soviet Union, Chairman Mao of the PRC decided that China should also progress in the field of aerospace engineering and move forward. The decision was made during the National Congress, or CPC, by Chairman Mao on May 17, 1958, so that China could grow and accomplish in every field. You see, in the Congress, Chairman Mao said, quote, "We need to develop an artificial satellite too." And with that began the development of the ambitious Project 581. The main purpose of this project was to construct and land a Chinese satellite on the moon by the year 1959, as a way of celebrating the 10th anniversary of the People's Republic of China. And so began the development of the first satellite in China. What followed were years of experiments and tests, one of which involved sending a biological sample, or 8 white mice, into space. After that, on July 4, 1967, Chairman Mao and Zhou Enlai, the first premier of the People's Republic of China, reached an agreement that China should also move forward and evolve in every field, and decided that China should start its own crewed space program, and the first design for the satellite was named Shugong-1. Then, in 1969, China attempted to launch its first ever satellite before Japan could launch its first ever satellite. But unfortunately, the launch ended in failure on November 16, 1969. Yikes. Fast forward to 1970. Under the direction of the Dean of the Chinese Academy of Space and Technology, CAST, the satellite Dongfang Hong-1 was finally built. At that time, 5 satellites identical to this satellite were built. The first satellite launch was a success. The launch mass of this satellite was 173 kilograms and was heavier than the mass of the satellites of the other 4 countries that had launched their satellites before it. It was a moment of triumph for the PRC. Dongfang Hong-1, translated as "The East is Red 1, was launched with a radio transmitter that broadcast the national anthem with the same title as the satellite, "The East is Red." This launch mission successfully took place on the 24th of April 1970 and was a milestone for the Chinese. After that, there was no looking back for the Chinese space program. The second launch was also a success. Now that we've looked into the history of the Chinese space program and its first ever satellite, let's talk about its first crewed space program now, shall we? The mission was known as Project 714, and its main purpose was to send 2 astronauts into space by the year 1973 in the Shugong-1 spacecraft. The project was pretty ambitious, and unfortunately, due to various financial and political issues, Shugong-1 was never launched and the plan was cancelled on May 13, 1972. The design for this spacecraft was similar to that of the Gemini capsule. Then, after the death of Chairman Mao in 1976, several other projects were cancelled. The Fanzhai ABM system, Shaifang anti-missile supergun, the ICBM Early Warning Network 7010 tracking radar, and the land-based high-power anti-missile laser program. Many political and financial changes after the death of Mao led to this. After that, another ambitious crewed space project was proposed. Several designs were showed that were rejected, and at last, this mission was also canceled. Although this mission was canceled, it proved to be useful for the Chinese space program in many ways. In 1973, China Aerospace Industry Corporation launched Long March 3B, a heavy carrier rocket that crashed 22 seconds after it launched 1.85 kilometers away from the launch site. Don't get bummed though, there's an upside to all this too. After a series of canceled missions on the 50th anniversary of the People's Republic of China, the first ever crewed mission by the Chinese space program was launched. After the launch, China became the third country to carry out a successful crewed mission by sending an astronaut into space. Astronaut Yang Liwei was on board. The spacecraft launched on October 15, 2003, and after 21 hours it landed on the same day. Since then, there has been no stopping the Chinese space program, as it's growing massively. Now, after the first crewed mission, their objectives are clear and they're moving forward to fulfill those. So, what exactly are the objectives of the Chinese space program? Well, the objectives of the space program include a series of missions. First of all, they aim to establish and further strengthen their position in the world of science and space. There's no denying the fact that China is not holding back and is proving itself in the field of science. Other than that, this association also aims on establishing its very own crewed space station. China was banned from the International Space Station, ISS, in 2011 due to national security reasons. The ISS is a space station that's a collaborative project of 5 countries: NASA, the United States, Roscosmos, Russia, JAXA, Japan, ESA, Europe, and CSA, Canada. The Chinese crewed space station is planned to be about 1/5 the mass of the ISS and will operate in low Earth orbit, approximately 350 kilometers to 450 kilometers above the Earth's surface. But that's not it. Further on, this program plans on establishing crewed missions to the moons and a crewed lunar base. It also aims to conduct a robotic lunar mission to use the Earth-Moon mission and its data collection for economic growth. So that's it for today, folks. We hope this provided an idea of the Chinese space program for you. The space program is growing, and there's no doubt that in just a few years, we'll witness amazing accomplishments by this program. For such informative videos, make sure you press the bell icon and subscribe to our channel, so you'll be notified every time a new video is uploaded.